What's up, everybody? Welcome to Midnight Customs. I'm Brandon, and today we're going to be doing a review on the ARCCAPTAIN CUT55 Pro plasma cutter. Multifunction. It's got Bluetooth app control, and this is their newest plasma cutter. So we'll get to unboxing this real quick, and I'll show you what's in here. Now, before we start pulling out all the goodies here, I want to let you guys know that August 7th, 2025 is ARCCAPTAIN's 3rd birthday anniversary, however you want to look at it. And they did send us this to do a review on it. Also, they have a big sale coming up for their celebration, and we have a bunch of goodies that they've wanted us to offer to you guys, and we will get into those details on what's available a little bit later in the video. So shout out to ARCCAPTAIN, happy anniversary, and thank you for continuing to make an amazing product and exceptional customer service. Hands down, best I've ever had. So here we go. We have our torch. We'll get into this. Also, they send you some extra consumables, a couple of tips, and you get a tool to swap out your consumables. You can also use a pair of pliers. Those work good too. So here we are. We have the cutting torch. This is an AG60 torch. So you get a total of 3 consumables. This is already installed in here, and then you have your extras here. Now, this is not the same as the CUT50. The CUT50, I think, is a P31. Different torch, different consumables. Nice thing about this here is you don't have to touch it. There's no lift arc. It's got a pilot arc, and we'll show you here later in the video what that is. So you have your torch, airline. This so you can hook up your air compressor. You got your worm clamps. We have here it also comes with a carry bag, or cover rather. So big opening on the bottom. You just set it down over your machine, and it has large storage pockets here. You can put your airline, your torch lead in there. Has one on both sides. So this is pretty snazzy, and the opening up top is so you can reach through and grab your handle and carry it. Very handy. Got your ground clamp. And pretty much all of the import machines now come with this adapter. So that way you can run 110 and plug this in to a 110 if you don't have 220, 240, whatever. I won't be using this in the video, but just so you know, you don't have to worry about having 220, 240 volt power. You can literally use this adapter and use 110. Got your shoulder strap, so you can carry this. You can actually hang the machine from your shoulder with this strap and take it to your workpiece and have it hanging off you while you're cutting. And then here is the machine itself. Very well packaged in here. So, it is wired for 220. First looks, this is very nice styling, pretty ergonomic. It takes up less space. I do have the Cut50, the original plasma cutter that they offered, and a little later we'll show you some comparisons between the two and why this one is better. So you have your built-in regulator. And we'll zoom in on this, but it is in PSI and the metric for you folks over the pond or anywhere you don't use the imperial system. So you got a barb fitting back here, and you would just slide this over and then put your worm clamp on it. We may change this out for a quick connect for standard air compressor fitting. That way we can just run the compressor right to it. You have your valve right here. Pop it up and you can turn it one way or the other to increase or reduce air pressure, and you can follow it on your gauge there. You get your air hose, you get your ground clamp, you get your 240 to 110 adapter, you get your torch lead, and then you also get a couple of extra consumables. Now, don't worry about the consumables. You can get these on Amazon. You can buy them direct from ARCCAPTAIN. These are widely available and they're very inexpensive to buy. Unlike some other plasma cutter consumables, you get some fancy stickers. You have your owner's manual, and I'm pretty sure in this manual it has the settings, amps and air pressure. So anyway, this is what we got. This is unboxing, and we'll get this all set up and we'll start doing some tests, cutting some different thickness materials, and we'll show you how good it works, and we'll give you the ins and outs of it. So, and then also coming up, we'll give you the details on their anniversary giveaway. All right guys, so we got the machine all set up. I'll show you real quick. I really like how large and bright that screen is. Very easy to read, even in the daylight, super easy. Get all your connections. Here's your ground, here's your torch, here's your positive for your pilot arc, and here's for your controls. Super easy. And then we come over here, you got your gauge, air pressure regulator with water drain, and we got this deal on here. I am going to change that to a quick connect. That thing still likes to leak a lot. Also, I just want to be able to plug in my airline, you know, directly to it. So and then right here we've got some pieces of steel we're going to test it on. We got a 14 gauge piece of diamond plate, and yes, it is diamond plate, but cut on the smart side. Got a piece of 1/8 inch plate, 1/4 inch, 7/16, and the thickest we got is 1/2 inch. So that's what we're going to go with. Oh, also, by the way, we've got a piece of 18 gauge. We're going to cut a design out for the missus. Got to keep the missus happy. Happy wife, happy life. So, with that being said, we'll get the camera set up and we'll go through the functions, and we're going to start at 40 amps, and we're going to go through, actually we're going to go through that. We'll do that piece first. So that way, you know, you get an idea. The thinnest we use here is 18 gauge because what we got going on is stuff like this. So 18 gauge is very strong, durable. It's not as strong and durable as 16 gauge, but 18 gauge is much easier to shape and form. 16 gauge takes some muscle. So just a heads up for those of you out there. But anyway, so yeah, we'll get the camera set up and we'll go through the different functions real quick. Actually, you got your mode button. So right now we're on 2T. Push that, you're on 4T. Now the difference is 4T, you pull the trigger once and it just keeps going until you pull the trigger again. 2T, you pull the trigger and it cuts until you let go of the trigger. So I use 2T, and like I said, you've got your different deals here. 120 volts, you can do 1/2 inch max. 240, you can do 3/4. We don't have any 3/4 here. So, like I said, we'll get the camera set up and we're gonna show you how good this thing works. Also, stick around. Coming up a little bit in the video, we've got a super sweet deal for ARC Captain's anniversary coming up here on August 7th, 2025. And we're gonna have a bunch of goodies that they're offering. So stick around and we'll get you all the deals on that. All right, folks, so we're going to start out with a piece of 18 gauge. We got a little design on here that we're gonna cut out real quick, and then we're gonna start moving on to thicker stuff. So we'll get in here real quick and we'll zip this out. If you guys want to do metal artwork, I am not a metal artist, but we're gonna try. So first things first, PPE. This isn't grinder shavings coming off. This stuff's hot. Should I be wearing sleeves? Absolutely. Am I? No. But I am wearing a face shield. You should probably use sunglasses or cutting glasses, whatever. But don't look directly at the art. I'm not a good role model for safety. Also, here's what your pilot art looks like. You can use this to burn rust or paint, whatever, off before you start cutting or to clean up the ground. So, here we go. You have to excuse the air compressor noise, but like I said, I'm not a metal artist, but you can definitely do metal art with it. Now, this was a piece of 18 gauge. We did have the juice turned way up to 50, so if you're going to do thin gauge stuff, you're going to want to go quite a bit faster so you don't heat warp this.
Show them the dross off that.
There's very little dross on this. Actually, this is the wrong one. If you look, that's the bulk of the dross on this whole thing. It's super clean cutting. And you can knock all that off with a file, or just kind of slap it with another piece of metal. Alright folks, now we are going to start at 14 gauge, which is considerably thicker than the 18. And like I said, this is diamond plate, but you can totally draw your lines out. This is just a piece of scrap. I would not cut or try cutting on the diamond side because you got a bunch of ridges and stuff, unless you got a super steady hand. So I would draw my designs out or whatever lines on the smooth side. Excuse me, I got allergies. Okay. That's 14 gauge. We'll move on to 1/8 inch. We'll get you a close-up of these cut edges once we get all these done. 1/4 inch. Now I'm going to do the smart thing and switch sides, so I'm not dropping all this on top of my torch lead and burning that up. Seven 16ths. Actually, let's move this to the end over here. Now we're cooking with peanut oil. Alright, this is the thickest piece of steel we got here at Midnight Customs currently. 1/2 inch. We're going to turn her up to 55. Air pressure set to 70.
Go a little faster.
We're going to try a 1/2 inch one more time, and we're going to move a little faster.
There you go.
So now, folks, as you saw previously when I just made this cut, when I got to about right here, you saw the sparks go like that and start flying out. That means I was going too fast and the plasma had not blown through the steel to blow it out the bottom. If you're cutting and you got sparks coming at you, going this way, going that way, going this way, you're moving too fast for the thickness that you got. You want all of that to shoot straight down and hit the ground and fan out. But you don't ever want it to shoot out this way. If you're cutting and it's spitting at you or going forward, if it's going any other direction other than down, that means you're moving too fast for the thickness, or your settings are incorrect and you're moving. It has to do with settings and travel speed. So do your due diligence, practice, practice, practice. As you can see, this is a super clean cut. This dross down here is no big deal. You can literally take a hammer and knock that off. Or in our case, we're going to take a piece of 7/16. So, I'm going to see that dross right there. I'm not going to hang on to this too long because it's probably cooking under these gloves. By the way, these gloves are from ARCCAPTAIN. I think they're like $16 or $17 on their website. I buy these all the time. They work really great. You can use them for oven mitts. You can use them on the grill, what have you. They've got a pretty good heat resistance on them. As you can see, I use mine quite regularly, but they haven't burned through yet. Or maybe they have and I just don't feel it anymore. So anyway, you got this dross on here. Just take your hammer or another piece of steel and that is super clean. That is a nice clean cut. And there you go. All right, folks, so that's the cutting process. This thing is amazing. Now, I will show you real quick. I do have the Cut 50, the original plasma cutter. This thing works fantastic also, but it doesn't work as good as this one. There is a considerable price difference. Now, this video is not about the Cut 50, but this is under $300, and for what it's doing here, I'd say it's probably worth every penny. It's definitely worth every penny. Not probably, excuse my my French. So we'll get into the cuts. Here's 7/16. Here's the 1/2 inch we just did. Here's the 1/8 inch. here is 14 gauge diamond plate. I'd say that those are real nice. Real nice. Now, one thing I want to touch on, you're running air pressure. So I have this thing set to 70. About 70. Actually, I lied. That's quite a bit higher. So what I'm getting at with this is where the pressure's set at static. Now, watch this as I pull the trigger. Now you're at about 70 psi. So, the point I'm making is, you have your cut parameters, you have amps, and you have air pressure, right? So, with that being said, if you set your static air pressure to 70, and then you go to pull the trigger, it's gonna drop way below 70. You're probably looking at like 40. Which is not going to be enough for the thicker material. So yes, the static pressure is turned up to 90, but when I pull the trigger, it cuts back to 70, which is perfect. Perfect. All right, folks, this does have upgraded cooling, and it's got dual fans, and it's on demand. They're not on continuously. They run as the machine heats up, and then they run into a preset temperature. All of these machines over here are all single cooling fans, but they all operate the same thing based on operating temperature. They have a preset they turn on, and they have a preset they turn off. This machine has two, and it's super quiet. I think they're computer fans. Don't quote me on that, but it's super quiet. Now, back here where the air fitting is, see the fans just turned off, which is great. Back here where this air fitting is, I don't remember what size this is. Let me look. It is, oh, there it is, 9/16. I want to change this so I can put one of these in there, and then I can just directly connect my air compressor hose to that. Here's my issue. That thing feels like it's got quick dry cement holding it in. And as you're turning on it, this bends and flexes. This is plastic. So, with that being said, I don't want to damage it. I don't want to break it. It does work really good. I just have to keep an eye on this fitting right here, because this is a barbed end. And eventually you're going to tighten this so much it's going to cut right through that. That is realistically my only con for this machine, is the air fitting. Outside of that, I have no complaints. This thing is absolutely fantastic, and for under 300 bucks, that's going to save you a boatload of time in the shop. Because think about it, you have a bandsaw right here, you have a chop saw over there. All those things work great, fantastic, depending on what you're doing. But this is so versatile, and I guarantee you, you're going to go through cutoff wheels on your angle grinder like crazy, especially once you start cutting like stuff up in 7/16 and 1/2 inch and thicker. You know, you can get away with 1/8 inch, no problem. But the point is, you're burning up consumables. Everything costs money. the goal is to save money, so sometimes to save money you got to spend money. Anyway, the Cut55 Pro, fantastic machine. I highly recommend it. All right, folks, here's the moment you've all been waiting for. Coming up on August 7th is Art Captain's 3-year anniversary. And if you want to get in on some of these great machines and products that we have back here that they've been kind enough to send us, head on over to Art Captain's website. And for the anniversary, they're giving away 100 free welding caps. You just pay shipping and handling. They've got 66 of their TrueView lens technology helmets for $50 a piece. And they're also giving up their largest discount ever sales event on all MIG, TIG, and plasma gear. So if you want to check this stuff out, and they make a really fine equipment, we've got no complaints whatsoever, head on over to ARCCAPTAIN.com. And from Brandon and Morgan at Midnight Customs
C20,
we want to wish you, Art Captain, a very happy 3-year anniversary.
Thank you so much for supporting us, and we're looking forward to many years of supporting you.
We appreciate you and the equipment that you make. It's very, very good. Also, your customer service is grade A exceptional. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
All right, folks, so this is the summary of this machine. All in all, I really like it, hands down. I have no complaints. Minor detail is the air fitting, not even a factor, to be completely honest with you. If I had one con, that would be it. But like I said, I would not hesitate to buy this machine. So many neat features about it. It works so good. And if you're just getting into fabricating or whatever, this is a really great machine. If you even have a shop, I mean, you know, for under $300, this thing's going to save you a ton of time. And as we all know, time is money. Highly recommend it. I love everything about it. And super affordable, super user friendly. So, Art Captain Cut55 Pro, fantastic machine. I'm Brandon. This is Midnight Custom C20. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Drop me a comment. Let me know what you think.